Live from London, it's the One World Media Awards 2021.
Welcome, welcome one and all to the 33rd One World Media Awards, coming to you from the Rich Mix Arts Centre in the heart of London. I'm Nelufar Hedayat.
And I'm Jenny Kleeman, and we are your hosts for this year's awards. The One World Media Awards started as a push to celebrate a greater range of media coverage from and about the global south. 33 years later, they continue that mission with more countries represented than ever before. Across 15 categories, the awards now cover all forms of media and celebrate quality journalism and documentary filmmaking from across the world, with entries coming from 96 countries this year alone.
Wow.
The purpose and aims of One World Media have expanded over the years, including more training and support for emerging talent. Let's take a look.
Stories shape our world.
They can bring shared ideas, solutions, and challenges to light.
They can break through stereotypes and change the narrative. They can hold power to account.
But if we're not vigilant, they can also be used to reinforce stigma and prejudice.
Spread lies and hate. That's why it matters how they are told.
One World Media works with journalists and filmmakers all over the world, supporting them at every stage of their career.
To tell stories that inform and connect us all.
Every year, talented new storytellers across the globe become a part of the One World Media Fellowship.
Going into something as a new filmmaker, or if you're starting off, it's kind of a great place to begin from. You get a network of other filmmakers around you.
Fellows join a global community of exceptional early career filmmakers and journalists whose creativity, integrity and ambition is shaping the future of international reporting.
It was great to have this support and a backup of your idea, especially for the first time as you don't have anyone else.
Short documentary filmmakers and commissioners connect like never before as part of the Global Short Docs Forum.
The forum just gave me a great platform to develop my ideas and to create a community, which I think is the most important thing.
And an ever-growing roster of training, workshops, screening and discussions creates endless opportunities for the international media community to come together,
continue developing their skills and debate the most important challenges facing our industry.
Storytelling is how we make sense of ourselves, but also how we make sense of the world. And it is important to have stories that can shine a light, that can bring us closer together, that can foster empathy and understanding.
In a world saturated with news and information,
Important, nuanced, brave, creative, underreported stories can too easily be missed.
The One World Media Awards shine a bright light on these stories.
Stories that break through stereotypes, change the narrative and inspire change.
I think we've seen around the world independent journalism is constantly under attack, and it's sacred and it needs to be protected. So I think this award does that. It recognises that journalism and the importance of it.
We are not here to entertain people. We are trying to get impact on every story.
The awards celebrate the exceptional and critical work of journalists and filmmakers all over the world.
Thank you for recognizing our work because it helps keep us safe.
Stories shape our world, and it matters how they're told.
Jenny, as you know, these awards celebrate exceptional coverage of international stories, as well as the media's potential to have an impact and create real change. The awards give a platform for journalists and filmmakers working on the ground to bring us quality, balanced coverage of underreported stories. As we respond to COVID and all of its challenges, it is more critical than ever to recognise and also to celebrate those reporters who bring us the stories that matter, the stories that shape the world around us.
Tonight, we will be showing you some of this year's best media coverage of underreported stories, and we'll hear from each of the winners. So, wherever you're watching from, grab a glass, sit back, and enjoy the show.
Let's kick things off with our short film and feature documentary categories. Here are this year's nominees.
Hedayat is fighting for justice. Her husband Azimjan has been in prison for 10 years for a crime he says he didn't commit.
Я не виноват. Не был, где произошло инцидент.
Now he has one last chance of freedom.
Это последний суд мужа. Я думаю, все будет хорошо. Справедливость будет.
Nosotros podemos venir de donde vengamos, hermano. La única forma que tenemos es diferente de hablar, diferente de sentir, ¿sí me entiendes?
Es todo.
De ahí
Pues
todo
somos lo mismo, mira.
Exacto.
Si me cortas a mí, te cortas a ti. La sangre es del mismo color.
Exacto.
Hay gente buena, hay gente mala. Desgraciadamente, así es el mundo. Pero hay más gente buena que mala.
Exacto. Siempre va a ser igual.
Y siempre va a ser así.
Pues sí, pues usted platica del señor Trump. Lo único que yo puedo decir de esa persona es que el Diosito Dios le bendiga y que todo lo que está haciendo no se le vaya a arrepentir algún día. Eso es lo único que yo puedo decir de esa persona.
पुर्खाहरू उहिलेको अब रीतिरिवाज हामी त अब जन्मिँदै आमाको गर्भैमा अब टाउकोदेखि नुहाउँदै निस्केको हौँ हामी त खाने नै हौँ नि भनेर भन्छ के भदैनी यस्तै छ रीतिथितिहरू चाहिँ होइन हामीहरूले त अब देवकुलमा पनि चढाउनु पर्ने हुन्छ अनि हामीहरूले अहिले बिचमा आएर यसरी नखाऊ नगरौँ भन्दाखेरि कुनैले पनि मानिदिँदैन के भदैनी
हमें सारी जानकारी चाहिए जो इस रास्ते से लेकर के दिक्कतें होती हैं।
आपकी मांग नहीं है कि आपको यहाँ आने के लिए न्यूज़ अगर बनानी है तो आपको गाड़ी चलनी चाहिए आपकी मांग नहीं है?
नहीं मेरी नहीं है क्योंकि मैं तो अक्सर पैदल चलती हूँ।
निकल जाइए तू।
ओके
कोई यहाँ एक अनपढ़ व्यक्ति भी नहीं बोलेगा कि आप पैदल चलने वाले हैं। मीडिया जो है ना बाइक देती है मोबाइल देती है
ऐसा कहीं कुछ नहीं होता
के लिए किराया देती है
आप किसी भी
पीने का खर्चा देती है
आप मीडिया के अंदर जाने के पता है आपको क्या रूल होते हैं क्या नियम कानून होते हैं
उतनी ही बात करिए जितना समझ में इससे ओवर नहीं
भाई मैं आपसे कह रही हूँ कि आप जितना मुझे समझाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं इतना शायद अगर आप बोल देंगे मुझे मेरे कैमरा के लिए तो ज्यादा बेटर होगा
Kenya has been ranked dismally as one of the most corrupt countries in the world.
MP. Why are you arresting me? Why are you arresting me? What about John? What about John?
Where are you going?
Going to topple the government.
So, today's the journey that begins.
Could be you mean the journey that begins?
No, today, voting, actually today, coming to apply for a voter's card installation shows that my heart is made up that I'm going to vie. But I cannot change my mind.
چشمامو که میبندم میتونم تو رو تصور کنم نوری جان که تیکه تیکه ای اون همه تحقیر و رنج و خشونت رو به هم وصل میکنی تو رو میبینم که چقدر خسته ای از موجود تازه‌ای که توی بدنت رشد میکنه میترسی نمیخوایش پدر بزرگ راضی به سخت نمیشه. انگار قراره تا وقتی تن تو باروره هر سال بچه تازه‌ای به این خونه اضافه کنی.
An incredible selection of films there. The judges commented on the amazing characters, stories and styles of documentary filmmaking shown across these categories. And I can now reveal the winner of this year's Short Film Award is Last Chance for Justice, Marina Shupac for BBC World News.
And the winner for Feature Docs Award goes to Softie by LBX Africa.
Congratulations to you both. Let's hear from our two winners.
Hello everyone and greetings from my home country Moldova. This February, my debut documentary, Last Chance for Justice, has been globally broadcasted by BBC World News. I've got incredible response from people all around the world who couldn't stay indifferent after watching this film. This nomination gives me hope. The story of Azimjan and Khadija Askarova from Kyrgyzstan won't be forgotten and will continue to inspire and empower people all around the world. It also gives me hope that Khadija Askarova won't be alone on her tough journey. I'm thankful to BBC for believing in me and my project. I'm also especially thankful to One World Media Global Short Docs Forum for providing a space for me as an emerging filmmaker to pitch this crucial story to leading broadcasters. I thank you.
Hi, my name is Sam Soko. I'm the director of the film Softie. Thank you so much. We are so honored and it's so amazing that we've been nominated as one of the films in the feature category of the One World Media Awards. We're encouraged and just use this moment to speak, to encourage other filmmakers who dare to dream and push and believe to tell their stories under very difficult circumstances. We hope our film continues to speak to many people and continues to encourage people to believe that they have the power to make a difference and to make a change, no matter how complicated things have been, particularly in the last year. But thank you so much, and keep speaking truth to power. Thank you.
For the past 6 years, One World Media has presented a dedicated award for refugee reporting, sponsored by the British Red Cross. In that time, the need for more accurate and fair reporting of refugee issues has grown. This award shines a light on those stories. Here are the nominees.
The people so angry, they are asking for food. Gate is closed. It is the second day. They did not have any kind of food, any food. They have nothing for it.
The UN is now supplying food to Malakasa, but today nothing's coming in. Because I speak English, the crowd asked me to talk to the police.
They are asking about the food.
Okay, if not tomorrow, in 2 days, they will give you food.
When they turned their heads back, the migrants could see the mountains they had just crossed. It was as if the Darien was spitting them out into flatlands. There was another sign that they were reaching the end. The number of corpses began to increase. There were the corpses that were visible, the ribcage splayed on a rock, the rotting body shoved off to the side of the trail, the skull beside the river. Some of the Cameroonians spotted a new-looking tent off the trail, thinking they might take it for themselves. When they opened it, they discovered 3 bodies. "We ran," Vitalis said.
Musuma ko réewi sama dëgg doo Paris musuma ne waaye France bi yàlla moom ko indi waaye musum waaye nag gis nga yàlla fu mu tudd sa wasal waaw mu tudd fa de li ñuy jaay te nga am lu lay dundee soo jaayu doo lekk.
The judges for this award felt that the entries brought new perspective and insight into the refugee experience. This includes a focus on migratory trails, which have not previously been reported widely, or refugee communities who have had little media focus to date. Overall, the panel were impressed by the number of entries that saw refugees acting as central narrators. So I can now reveal the winner for this year's Refugee Reporting Award goes to When Can We Really Rest? Ndaja Dross for California's Sunday Magazine.
Congratulations to our winner. Let's hear from them.
For the California Sunday Magazine, I followed migrants and asylum seekers from around the world, taking a little-known migration route to the U.S. via the Americas, traversing the Darien Gap, a roadless jungle on the border of Colombia and Panama. The terrain is treacherous and the experience harrowing. Migrants run out of food, they get lost, face routine sexual assault and armed robbery, and face the risk of death by injury, drowning, and murder. The obstacles they face are immense, and this nomination is a tribute to them, their resilience, courage, and humanity. I hope this nomination draws attention to the reality that they're forced to take this route as a result of man-made decisions to close borders and deny asylum seekers better ways to reach safer ground. Thank you, One World Media, for illuminating such important and pressing stories.
Next up is our Digital Media Award, sponsored by Google News Initiative, and the TV Documentary Award, sponsored by the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. The Digital Media Award is for websites, interactive docs, and other digital technologies that use creative techniques to extend our knowledge of the Global South.
The TV Documentary Award is for a factual programme broadcast on television or online that deals with stories or issues from the Global South. Let's see who the nominees are.
In many ways, women and girls are paying a disproportionately high price for the ongoing conflict in Ethiopia's northern region of Tigray, both those still trapped inside the country and those who have fled. More than 60,000 people have crossed the border into Sudan since the conflict began in November. Many women and girls have arrived alone, separated from family members during the chaos in the region. This story was compiled from visits to Eastern Sudan refugee camps in order to meet with survivors and hear how they are coping. Violence during quarantine is the first international and regional investigation into the violence against women that occurred during the COVID-19 social isolation measures. The vast investigation analyzes the situation in 19 countries across Latin America and the Caribbean. A team of 66 people, including journalists, fact-checkers, designers, illustrators, translators and filmmakers, tracked 1,409 femicides from March to June 2020. The $5 forests uncovered the human rights abuses and economic exploitation of indigenous communities in West Papua, a remote, restive corner of eastern Indonesia. The project reveals how Asia's largest remaining rainforests are being plundered for $5 a hectare in dubious land deals involving two South Korean resource giants, Corindo and POSCO International. This interactive report is designed to imitate elements of the investigative process. Users can interact with supporting evidence and data components such as forest loss maps and redacted reports.
هاي الصورة أكيد هي المشفى العسكري. هذا الحائط موجود بالمشفى العسكري، وبتوقع هذا حائط المشرحة.
When you document and you build criminal files, You want information, you want evidence, but volume can be a challenge in itself, specifically when volumes is made of material that is not easy to search. I'm thinking particularly in the case of Syria, the large volumes of video material, of photographs, these are not easy material to search.
De dia, jornada exaustiva na roça e abuso sexual.
Ter que fazer sexo no meio das lavouras sem querer.
À noite, tortura psicológica e agressão física.
Começou a bater aqui na minha cabeça, começou a bater.
Sem proteção, muitas são assassinadas pelos companheiros.
Meia-noite nós recebemos notícia que ele tinha matado ela.
Como dar um basta na violência contra a mulher?
O senhor vai ser conduzido para a delegacia. Não vai sair não, se quiser passar, você pode matar.
Agricultoras violentadas. No Repórter Record Investigação.
The engineer who helped develop Xinjiang's mass surveillance system explained how these companies' technology works.
Uyg'urlarninki chiroy ifodasini maslab gavdlik chiroy ifodaları bu sistemda oldin selishtirilgan to'liq ma'lumotlar ommachiga kirgizib o'tilgan. Shunga buningda asosan analiz qilinganlar Uyg'urlar nuqtalik analiz qilindi. Bu analizga asosan kompyuterda bu odamning xatarlik odam, normal odam yoki qisman benormal odam.
Jenny, the judges for these two panels were blown away by the range of storytelling they said was on offer. I can now reveal that the winner for this year's Digital Media Award goes to Violence During Quarantine by Factual. Congratulations.
And the winner of the TV Docs Award is Agriculturas Violentadas by Record TV.
Congratulations. Let's hear from our winners.
Hi everybody, I'm Ketzalli Rosas from Mexico. As a director of violence during quarantine, today I'm speaking to you on behalf of the 66 people who worked for 8 months on this cross-border investigation. For the team, being nominated for the One World Media Awards is a gigantic achievement, a way to make visible the work of women journalists, and a way to raise our voices to show the sexist violence that is suffered in our countries and that require actions even in the middle of a global health crisis. We believe that this nomination will help institutions and governments listen and pay attention to violence against women. And this investigation will be a reference for consulting the Latin America and the Caribbean panorama on violence against women during the COVID-19 pandemic. It is an investigation that we can update because unfortunately nothing guarantees that we can be locked up at home again. Thank you so much.
Olá, eu sou a Ivandra, eu sou editora do programa Agricultoras Violentadas. Editamos juntas.
Isso, eu sou Mariana Ferrari, editora também do Repórter Record Investigação sobre as agricultoras violentadas.
E o que é que significa ser indicado para esse prêmio? Eu acho que para a gente é uma honra mesmo, né? Você está concorrendo ao lado de emissoras que são reconhecidamente referência em documentário no mundo.
E o tema é importante porque são mulheres violentadas em regiões muito afastadas das cidades e é um problema mundial, né? Não é um problema só do Brasil. E a gente acredita que falar sobre isso dá mais visibilidade para essas mulheres.
Now we have our Print and Popular Features Award. Our Popular Features Award is for stories that reach a wider audience, potentially less familiar with the Global South, which provide an accurate and balanced perspective. Let's see who the nominees are.
In a rural town in the western part of the country, a microbiologist is constructing a $3.9 million genomics center. And in the capital city of Abuja, researchers are revamping the National Reference Laboratory to analyze DNA from 200,000 blood samples stored in their new biobank. Studying everything from diabetes to cholera, these endeavors are designed to build the country's capabilities so that the genetics results from Africa, the publications, patents, jobs and any resulting therapies flow back into the continent.
Catherine is 12 years old. Small for her age, she looks even younger sitting in the dark, hands resting in her lap. For more than half of her life, she has been locked inside this hut, no bigger than a garden shed. She sleeps on the concrete floor without a mattress, between sacks of dried cassava. Chickens with which she shares a storeroom roost in baskets. This should not be a normal thing, sighs Fred Alimet, a pastor in this swathe of countryside of Soroti district in Uganda's east, where farmers live with their families in mud brick huts built on terracotta dirt. But because this child has a disability, she is being hidden.
During the raid, the residents saw the local mayor, Haji Abdu Kiamba, come in. They say he whipped them with a cane and opened the gate to the shelter, telling villagers to come and see these gays. The residents believe he tipped off journalists who arrived to film and take photos, publicly outing them. When a police officer who was part of the raid called for a patrol car to take the residents away, Tevin heard the mayor say, "No, these guys deserve to be taken like pigs or goats or cows. They do not deserve the respect of going in our police cars."
In the crowded prison courtyard and within a strict 1-hour time slot, hundreds of inmates queued up, eager to share their stories and have a lawyer take up their case free of charge. Family members are often unaware that their loved ones are in jail. One prisoner, Chijioke, whose surname is not being published because his trial is ongoing, said he had been in jail since April 2019. He was arrested and charged with stealing after he could not keep up with his loan payments on a keke, or motorized rickshaw, that he had bought for work. He could not remember anyone's mobile telephone number to let them know he was in prison. "If my brother only knew I was here, he would bail me out," Chijioke said.
I have lost so many babies. People don't even believe I was pregnant. I had 4 miscarriages because I couldn't get to hospital in time. I have had a lot of issues when I was pregnant in the past, and getting to hospital in time would have solved them.
Salifa's story is all too common for people living in remote areas with no transport. But a group of women in northern Nigeria have come up with their own solution, and that solution is saving lives. They found a way to get their own emergency vehicle to take them to hospital when they need it.
There is no doubt that if we didn't have this car, I would have lost my babies, which has happened in the past. I lost a baby boy because we didn't have an emergency vehicle in the village.
And they've inspired the government to roll out a scheme that could help thousands of others.
Una vez por aquí cargando un saco de yuca, se me partió por aquí. Porque mi hija ya te digo que cuando esto se rompe es un problema.
This is where Ernesto goes to get his prosthetics, free of charge. But Ernesto can't get the specialized prosthetics he needs, because it's illegal for Cuba to buy them.
¿Y existen unas prótesis un poco más resistentes que usted le pudieran servir más?
Existen unas prótesis más resistentes, con más calidad, caminaría mejor, incluso podía trabajar mucho más, pero no tenemos acceso a ella por el bloqueo.
Ernesto doesn't complain. In Cuba, we've lived with scarcity for so many years, we take it for granted.
Absolutely brilliant reporting on incredibly urgent issues. I can now reveal the winner for this year's Print Award, and that goes to Uganda's Hidden Children by Bo Donnelly for Al Jazeera.
And the winner of the Popular Features Award is The War on Cuba by Belly of the Beast.
Congratulations to both of them. Let's hear from them now.
I'm thrilled to be shortlisted in this year's One World Media Awards for print. Photographer Christopher Hopkins and I tried for years to secure the backing to travel to Uganda and tell this important story, and we found that support in 2020 from the Simon Cumbers Media Fund, who we're very grateful to. Thanks must also go to Al Jazeera, to the AJ Labs and Features sections, for giving us the space to run such an in-depth piece and for presenting our work in such a striking way. Thank you.
Hola, mi nombre es Liz.
Soy Maite.
Soy Daniel y somos parte del equipo de Belly of the Beast.
Estamos muy felices de ser finalistas de los One World Media Awards y es especialmente importante para nosotros por lo complicado que ha sido montar un proyecto periodístico pequeño e independiente en Cuba.
Ser nominados valida nuestros esfuerzos, pero es aún más importante que visibiliza nuestro trabajo, The War on Cuba, que trata sobre las consecuencias devastadoras que tienen las políticas estadounidenses en el pueblo cubano.
Además, creemos que este reconocimiento puede contribuir a que más personas se acerquen a nosotros y nos apoyen en proyectos futuros. Gracias.
Next up, we have our Environmental Impact Award, sponsored by the Water Bear Network. Now, this award is for a piece of media that explores the relationship between people and the planet. These are our nominees.
O filme é sobre a Amazônia, agora no século XXI, sobre os desafios e sobre, na verdade, o encontro de duas visões de mundo. Uma que já está há 14 mil anos na Amazônia, que tem uma convivência ancestral com a floresta, e uma outra que chegou mais recentemente, especificamente nos últimos 50 anos, que chegou para desmatar, para explorar a Amazônia de uma forma predatória.
Each trunk is cut into 2-meter logs. The loggers know they will need to fit into a shipping container that will travel nearly halfway around the world to China. These men are among the thousands of Senegalese tempted into breaking the law. It's a trade that is corrupting communities and accelerating the destruction of their forests.
Mercury, Chasing the Quicksilver, is a multimedia interactive production from Info Amazonia, a network of journalists investigating environmental issues in the 9 countries of the Amazon. The investigation was conducted in 4 countries for over 1 year. Using photography, interactive maps, video and print, Mercury is shown to be one of the driving forces behind small-scale gold mining in the Amazon. To extract gold sparks, this liquid metal is considered essential. But mercury pollutes fragile ecosystems and harms the human health.
It is wonderful to see these inspiring stories being given the recognition that they deserve. I can now reveal that this year's winner of the Environmental Impact Award is Amazon Undercover by Pindorama Films.
Congratulations to you and to your colleagues. Let's hear from our winner.
Hi, I am Estêvão Ciavatta, author, producer, and director of Amazon Undercover. I would like to thank the One World Media Award for this nomination and say that for sure this will help us to spread even more the message of our Film and Impact campaign. And also I would like to thank the traditional people, the indigenous peoples of Brazil for being such an inspiration and for their resistance, defending and preserving huge areas of Amazon rainforest all over Latin America. Sawe!
The Student and New Voice categories are next. These awards offer a platform to media students as well as to emerging talent working in the field around the world. Here are the nominees.
When cycle beads was first introduced here, women were thrilled to use it. They said cycle beads resembled traditional Turkana beads, but the craze died down Many of them could not count. In this town, women using contraceptives seem to know each other. Rosaline says I should speak to 25-year-old Nasiki Akal, a mother of 3 who took a contraceptive injection 3 years ago.
Lakini vile nilipata huyo mtoto mwingine wa 3 na huyu mwingine kwa hiyo muda alikuwa bado ako mdogo. Sasa nikahangana kubeba na huyu na sikuwa na msaidizi. Nikaona hii sitaweza tena, sitarudia tena kwa mara ya pili.
人家走，你走10分钟就到，要到，人家走1分钟或者是半分钟就到了。
但是最起码我不感觉我自己完全是个废人呢，生活当中，最起码我能照顾自己，我还能照顾别人呢。
你们这个心态确实可以，确实真的好，但是你不能否认我们就是个残疾人。
我没否认呢。
对呀， 我否认了。你可以把自己当成是个正常人，但是，你改变不了，改变不了别人。我们本来就是个改变不了现实，我们就是残疾人，是不是？
我就改变现实。
我要。
你这个手能长吗？长不出来吧？事实你就是个残疾人，而且你还领了证的3级残疾人。
我领了证，我没领钱啊。
我跟你说，你当我那时候小的时候，走的，我自己那时候真的很自卑啊。
Жить трудно, одна жить тоже трудно, мне трудно. Терпеть надо. Детям ничего не скажу, они тоже переживают, поэтому я сам. Дети спрашивают, все хорошо, хорошо скажу. Затем их тоже переживают. Не думали мы, нас так получится, не думали.
Pero lo mejor que tiene Cuba es su gente. But we've got one huge problem, the economy.
La situación está mala.
Malísima.
Fea, fea. Pésimamente mal.
Está difícil.
Estresante.
Caótica. En candela.
Ahora mismo está fatal.
A mí ni me pregunto.
During the pandemic, people have to wait in line for hours just to buy food.
Aquí la cosa está dura. COVID. I'm used to this. I grew up in crisis.
Teachers kept a close eye on the children as they recited their lines, standing over them with a whip.
طلعت فوق يعني مبكر عشان أصل صلاة العصر وصورت الأطفال زي الكنجر يعني بقفزوا من هنا لهنا 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 عشان يمشوا يتوضوا.
The conditions at Sheikh Hussein's Khalwa were the worst I'd seen. It's no wonder Mohammed Nader and Ismail tried to escape.
لما تكون كمان قاطع الكهرب وهدوء تام بتلاقي الزنان بتيجي ارجع بصراحه طول الليل تقول موتور ولا مولد جنب راسك.
نفسي من كتر صوتها ما هي مزعجة امسكها وفتفتها بايدي عن جد.
لما يكون الصوت يعني زيادة عن حده بتحس انه انت في ممكن يصير اشي، ممكن يصير عملية اغتيال.
ممكن صار شغلة، ممكن يردوا بدهم يردوا، وضلني متوتر بعدين اقول خلص بتعب بنام.
Well done to all of our nominees. The jury panel were impressed by the artistic solutions used to report on such crucial issues. I can now reveal the winner for this year's Student Award, and that goes to Last Chance for Justice by Marina Shupac at UCL.
And the winner of this year's New Voice Award is Fatah Al-Rahman Al-Hamdani for BBC News Arabic.
Big congratulations to both of you. Now let's hear from you.
Hello everyone. I got the news of my film being nominated a few weeks before human rights defender Azimjan Askarov from Kyrgyzstan, whose story in the heart of my film would turn 70. This nomination gives me hope that his wife Khadija, whom I follow in the film, won't be alone on her tough journey. This nomination also gives me courage to explore more crucial stories from the global south, including from my home country Moldova. I would like to thank Chiming Scholarship for making my studies in the UK possible, and of course my mentors and tutors from UCL, especially my mentor and tutor Lucy Sandy Swinch, editing tutor Bonnie Ray Brickman, and camera tutor Lawrence Avis. I thank you all.
هذا الفيلم يمثل لي تحدي عظيم لأنني قررت فيه أن أواجه هذه المدارس الدينية القوية وأكشف الجانب المظلم الذي يعيشه الأطفال بداخلها. فخور جدا أن أترشح لهذه الجائزة المهمة والتي تعني لي مواصلة القتال من أجل أن تظل أصوات هؤلاء الأطفال مستمرة ويتغير حالهم إلى الأفضل. أحب أن أشكر شبكة أريج للصحافة الاستقصائية وBBC عربي، زملائي في قسم الوثائقيات ممدوح عقبيق المنتج، جيسيكا كيلي المخرجة، بتينا واكد محررة الصور، سايمون كوك مشرف التحقيقات، ومصطفى خليل رئيس التحرير. كما أشكر بحرارة أسرة محمد نادر وإسماعيل لشجاعتهم النادرة واختيارهم الحقيقة بدلا من الخوف والصمت. شكرا جزيلا.
The International Journalist of the Year Award celebrates journalists who have made a significant impact on the media landscape over the last year. Let's take a look at this year's nominees.
Fisayo Shoyombo has investigated an array of hard-hitting subjects, from the abandoning of soldiers injured in battle against Boko Haram to the plunder of Ebola funds in Liberia and the corruption of the Nigerian Customs Service at Apapa Port. An op-ed contributor to Al Jazeera, who has also written for Taz, the Daily Mail UK, and Africa in Fact, his writings have been translated into German, French, and Arabic. Fisayo is a former managing editor of Sahara Reporters and the pioneer editor of The Cable, and has also edited the International Centre for Investigative Reporting. Late last year, Fisayo founded the Foundation for Investigative Journalists as an independent, not-for-profit organisation fighting injustice and holding power to account. Sweedad Al-Sohi grew up in the province of Dikar, 400 kilometers south of Baghdad. After graduating, she approached a weekly newspaper. It hired her after she reported on the impact of depleted uranium, a radioactive munition linked to birth defects, used by the US-led military coalition during the 1991 war with Iraq. Al-Sohi has now been a journalist for 2 decades, covering security and politics. During that time, she has reported on a range of issues, from the US-led invasion of 2003 to the rise of Al-Qaeda in Iraq and the emergence of the Islamic State group. Drew Ambrose is a multi-award-winning senior producer and correspondent for Al Jazeera English's flagship current affairs program 101 East. In the past decade alone, the 35-year-old journalist has produced more than 80 television documentaries and long-form digital projects for Al Jazeera across the Asia-Pacific. In that time, Ambrose has reported on some of the biggest humanitarian crises in the region, including the Rohingya refugee crisis in Myanmar, Sri Lanka's Easter Sunday bombings, and the devastation caused by Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines.
3 world-class journalists who have reported fearlessly throughout their careers. I can now reveal that the winner of this year's International Journalist of the Year Award is Drew Ambrose for Al Jazeera English.
Congratulations to you. Let's hear from you, Drew.
It's a huge honour to be shortlisted for a One World Media Award in the International Journalism of the Year category, especially as so many media practitioners who I deeply respect have been shortlisted or even won that award in the past. So to be in that company is a huge, huge, huge honour. I think the One World Media Awards are exceptionally important because they shine a light on communities in the Global South that don't normally get attention from the mainstream media, and it's important that we tell their stories. I hope by being nominated, people pay particular attention to our investigation in West Papua, a part of Indonesia that doesn't normally get a lot of media attention due to the ongoing civil war. It's about deforestation, an issue I deeply care about, and I hope it raises awareness of the problem there.
Now we have the News and Podcast and Radio Award with some exciting entries ranging from China and Yemen to South Africa and Zambia. Let's see who our nominees are.
Xinjiang makes mountains of cotton, a fifth of the world's total. And our investigation will only heighten concerns about this product, although the evidence wasn't easy to find.
And they're waiting for us.
We're turned back at checkpoints.
We'll pay.
Stopped from filming.
We'll pay.
Questioned and followed.
Further behind is also following us.
This is one site we're trying to get to, a giant re-education camp. But more recently, something else has been built next door, a textile factory. Days after its completion, a large group of people can be seen being moved between the camp and the factory.
We were with Zabila Hassanova and her family as an earlier US brokered deal fell apart just minutes after both sides were supposed to stop.
Ballistic qaçid.
Shit. That was really close, incoming shelling. A ceasefire was announced just hours ago, so there's supposed to be a ceasefire. Both sides are not supposed to be engaging, but we've been hearing shelling all day.
We were the first journalists and the only outsiders to reach the site of the attack several weeks after it happened. We gathered a pile of evidence and sent our team back to get more. The only survivors now live hundreds of kilometres away, but we tracked them down.
I was screaming for help. I was in shock, she says. The house was destroyed. I was searching for my daughter, but she was dead. Then I saw my sister-in-law, and she was dead too. I just picked up my son and screamed for help.
Labia stretching, also called labia minora elongation, or LME, is known to most women in sub-Saharan Africa. It is the act of lengthening the inner labia, and with many cultures insisting on elongation, the practice remains common in Eastern and Southern Africa. But it also remains controversial. For some, labia pulling is an expression of tradition. But others condemn the practice as female genital mutilation and a violation of girls' and women's human rights. Our reporter Njenje Chizo in Zambia investigates the tensions surrounding this issue.
This is how it comes about. It's November 2019, lunchtime. Everyone still works in an office, and I'm sitting at my desk at News 24 in Auckland Park, in Johannesburg. I overhear our assistant editor Peter de Toy talk to my boss about a possible expose of a place called KSB. So I pipe up, "Do you mean Kwasizabandu?" So you see, I went to school right next door. We even played hockey against them. I say to the editor, there were always rumors about them. The editor says, "Great, you know more than the rest of us. Do you think you'll be able to talk your way into a cult?"
A passenger sitting near me is Kadir Magog. He's on his way home to Djibouti.
He's a security guard at a construction company there, and he says he takes this train often. He's impressed with what China's doing to transform Ethiopia, Djibouti, and the whole region, with construction, with this train, and more.
Before, Occident country, England, French was coming here, invest, Italian also, they build a railway, the old railway. And now I think it's the time of Chinese.
Now it's the time of the Chinese.
It's a competition, and I think that Djiboutian or Ethiopian, they accept who offer the best things and low cost.
A brilliant and varied selection of stories there. I can now reveal the winner of this year's News Award is New Evidence of Uyghur Forced Labour in China's Cotton Industry. That's John Sudworth for the BBC.
And the winner for the Podcast and Radio Award is Exodus: Uncovering a Cult in KwaZulu-Natal by News 24.
Congratulations to both of our winners and their colleagues. Let's hear from them.
Well, Kathy and I are delighted to have been nominated for this award. It means so much to us as well as to other members of our team who sadly cannot be named as part of this award. China works so hard now to hide the truth of what's happening through the constant monitoring, the obstruction and the threats against journalists in Xinjiang. But real journalism can still be done, and we are very, very proud of this piece that for the first time shows that hundreds of thousands of Uyghurs and other minorities are being forced into the hard manual labour of Xinjiang's cotton fields.
We are so pleased to receive this nomination, not just because, as John said, so many people worked so hard on this report, but because we were all motivated by the desire to keep such an important subject in the spotlight. It's a subject that has frequently become the target of much propaganda and misinformation. So this is recognition not just of our reporting, but of our contribution to a growing body of evidence about the truth of what is happening in Xinjiang. So thank you.
Hello, I'm Dion Wiggett.
And I'm Noctila Mangati, and we are the team behind the Exodus podcast. We are just thrilled that our expose on a cult in KwaZulu-Natal has resonated with an audience around the world.
KwaZulu-Natal in rural South Africa can feel like the end of the earth. It is really hard, as you know, to investigate stories so far away from the big media cities. We're just scratching the surface of the narratives of the South African countryside, and thank you to One World Media for helping us to amplify our work. We appreciate it hugely.
Now we have the Women Entrepreneurs Reporting Award, sponsored by the European Investment Bank. This award is for stories that showcase successful female entrepreneurs and highlight the challenges women face in growing their businesses around the world. Here are the nominees.
Every morning, Diallo wakes up at dawn. After eating a slice of buttered bread and carrying out religious ablutions, she takes a large, colourful basket filled with tools and heads towards the fields that stand along the river. But for years, she has struggled to produce enough food to support herself and the rest of her family. Life is really hard here, she says. Especially after my husband told me he didn't have enough money to send us food anymore. That's why we started to work more and more on the fields. She is now involved in every stage of the agricultural process, working the land with the use of new technologies and going to regional markets to sell her produce, mainly tomatoes, onions, aubergines and rice.
म जसरी भए पनि यो फिल्म बनाएरै सक्छु
Ready for national anthem, ready?
Bueno, yo antes pensaba que que por ser mujer no podía hacer muchas cosas. La verdad es que hay unas mujeres que aquí en el Ecuador son muy sumisas. Yo una vez que entré acá a la reserva ya no soy la misma Vane. Yo antes era más tranquila, a mí sí me decían, sabes que Vane, no hagas esto, yo no lo hacía. Porque me criaron así. Ahora ya respondo también, ya me defiendo.
The judging panel all commented on how these were all positive stories coming from figures living in difficult situations with many challenges, and yet still they were able to find solutions. I can now reveal the winner for this year's Women Entrepreneurs Reporting Award, and it goes to The Energy to Stay, Senegal's Village of Women by Carlotta Dotta for Al Jazeera.
Congratulations! Let's hear from our winner.
Hello, my name is Carlotta Dotta and I'm the author of the Energy to Stay project for Al Jazeera. I'm very grateful to be nominated for a One Word Media Award because it is a way of bringing even more attention and voice to the protagonists of the story, who are these incredible women who live in Senegal, and is about the struggles but is also about their successes and the way they were able to find very local solutions to very global issues that we all face today, such as climate change and the migration crisis and the gender disparity in many job roles. So I want to thank everyone who was involved in the project. Julia Bassanese in first place, who came to Senegal with me and filmed the story, the One Word Media team and the Al Jazeera lab, and especially the women who decided to share the stories with us in front of a camera. Thank you very much all.
C'est Koumba Diallo. Moi, c'est Jenna Bagna. Nous sommes très contents d'avoir reçu cette bonne nouvelle. On est tellement heureux qu'on a gagné ensemble. Toutes mes félicitations à nous tous. Et merci beaucoup. Bye. Ciao, ciao.
This brings us to our final category for the night, the One World Media Special Award. Now, this award is for an independent media organisation using media to address social, political and economic issues. It is for those organisations standing up for truth and justice, often against all odds. An incredible range of entries came in from all over the world this year, showing diverse examples of how media can make an impact, both locally and nationally.
The judges narrowed it down to the 3 most exceptional entrants, all of whom demonstrate the important role of the media in providing a platform to amplify local people's voices, creating a space for critical information and holding those in power to account. Now, let's see who they are.
Connect Us is a regional platform that has become a reference for investigative journalism across the hemisphere. Their commitment to journalistic collaboration in the production of in-depth stories helps expose abuses of power, and their analysis has improved understanding of the Americas. As a journalistic initiative, Connect Us' mission is to promote the exchange of information on key issues. Numerous stories made by journalists from Latin America under various alliances with Connect Us have been deserving of the most prestigious awards, mentions, and recognitions in Latin America. The Iwaku Press Group was born modestly in Burundi in 2008. Launched by journalist Antoine Kaburahi, Iwaku was quickly recognized for the editorial staff's high journalistic standards. At the time, the political context was favorable to independent media initiatives. Over the years, Iwaku has acquired a reputation as a serious and independent media outlet, opening its pages to Burundi's diversity. In February 2015, a team of committed journalists from Myanmar founded Myanmar Now as a national news agency. They plan to fill a gap in the media landscape by publishing longer, in-depth stories. Myanmar Now has used its ethical, investigative journalism to raise awareness about the ethnic, political, and democratic issues currently impacting Myanmar. The team produces compelling news items and features, and has a particular expertise in explaining complicated subjects to readers in both English and Burmese.
The winner of the special award is...
I'm going to give you a drum roll.
Myanmar Now. Congratulations to everyone at Myanmar Now, such an important organisation working under incredibly challenging circumstances. Their courage and commitment is an example to us all. We have an exclusive interview coming up after the show between Jon Snow and editor Sway Win, so please tune in for that.
My name is Sway Win. I am the editor-in-chief of Myanmar Now, an independent news outlet in Myanmar. I and my team are very much honored to be nominated for this award. Following the recent military coup in our country, my newsroom has been raided and one of my colleagues has been detained up until now. Outright murders and arbitrary arrests have become daily norms in our society. In this very tense atmosphere, our news team is still trying to give important news updates to people inside and outside Myanmar. This award will give much needed mental strength to our reporters and editors in continuing their professional and courageous journalism. Thank you very much.
Well, everyone, it's been inspiring to say the least. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you to all of our winners and nominees.
And a huge thank you to our sponsors, to our judges, and to all of you for entering the awards.
Until next year, stay in touch and stay safe.
Hello and welcome to this exclusive One World Media Awards live stream interview. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jon Snow and I'm delighted to be joined by Swee Win, Editor-in-Chief of Myanmar Now, who are a nominee for this year's One World Media Special Award. Before we continue, I'd like to take a moment to highlight the importance of these awards. You know, for over 3 decades, One World Media have brought together the international media community to amplify underreported stories that change the narrative and connect people from different cultures. They particularly recognize those journalists and filmmakers who risk so much to bring us the stories that help us make sense of the world. Stories that spotlight the kindness, the courage, and the solidarity of humanity. The special award is for a media organization delivering exceptional reporting that informs the public and holds those in power to account. This year, the nominees include Myanmar Now, Iwaku in Burundi, and Connectors, who are a multi-country organization in Latin America. These are all critical organizations working in their regions to provide balanced, fact-based journalism that keeps the public informed. I am delighted, Swee Win, to have the honor of letting you know that Myanmar Now is the winner of this year's One World Media Special Award. I wish we could be in person to present you with the physical award. In any event, would you like to say a few words about what winning means to you?
Thank you very much, John, for the introduction. This is a great delight. This is a great honor to me and to members of our newsroom. Most of our colleagues, they are working amid chaos. They are working on news stories from their hideouts, despite the risk of imprisonment and life threats. So this is a really great honor, not just to our organization, but to the people of Myanmar, and also to the news media industry in Myanmar. Thank you very much.
Well, a very well-deserved win for a courageous organization. Swee Win and his team continue to report despite the military coup currently gripping the country. Myanmar Now is an independent news service that offers accurate, non-partisan news with emphasis ranging from humanitarian and ethnic issues to domestic political reform and environmental challenges. Sriwin, I'd love to ask you a few questions, if I may. Firstly, can you tell me how Myanmar Now was created? What were the original objectives and have they changed at all?
Myanmar Now was founded with the initial support of Thomson Reuters Foundation back in 2015 to provide quality news reporting, but later our organization has been supported by international foundations and individual donors. The main purpose was actually to add quality news reporting and investigative reporting to the news readers in Myanmar. Our team has grown from about 6 people to more than 40 over the past 3 years.
What's your own journalism background? When did you join Myanmar Now yourself?
I was freelancer between 2012 and 2013. After I came back to Myanmar, I was working in an ASI news organization, Myanmar News Organization in Thailand. But after the country politically opened in 2010, I came back to Myanmar and joined Myanmar Now. My background was, I came of age through all the political upheavals, in our country, and that I have been a news junkie since teenage years. And then in my first year at the university, I was sentenced to 21 years in jail. So when I was serving time as a political prisoner in the late 1990s, I decided that I would join a newsroom when I got released because I saw a lot of human misery in the prison. And then there isn't much space for political activism because of the very tight oppression. So I think the journalism might be a way, actually, to expose the human misery and also revolt against the military dictatorship. So this desire was essentially a product of my news addiction, a bit of love for literature. I started working out as a reporter for some local outlets in 2007, and then later left the country to join this ASI news organization in Thailand.
What's the situation like now in Myanmar? I mean, have the protests had an impact? Are they going to continue?
The military has murdered, since February 1st coup, the military has murdered nearly 1,000 people and detained several thousands of people. They continue to arrest nurses, school teachers, and doctors who have rightfully expressed their dissent against the coup by choosing not to work for the bureaucratic machine run by the junta. So currently the protests have dwindled a lot due to the brutal crackdowns, and people are now taking up arms to fight against the junta forces. They are just equipped with the 19th century hunting rifles and muskets to attack the soldiers and police. So right now, we are sort of on the verge of a full-blown civil war.
You yourself have been shot, you've been threatened, you've been imprisoned. What makes you keep going?
It is about love for humanity. When you grow up in a chaotic and turbulent society, you naturally develop love, for the greater humanity, actually, because the suffering is all around. So a love for humanity, truth, and justice continue to keep going. Of these values, I think truth is the most relevant to our trade and the most important.
You are at the forefront of reporting on the military coup, but your team is in hiding and dispersed. How do you operate a newsroom in such challenging circumstances?
Yeah, this is a very challenging situation. Some of our members took shelter in the remote jungles, infected with scorpions and snakes and various kinds of insects where there is no proper water or electricity, etc. And then some of the people are still hiding in the major cities. So you can imagine how we are operating, you know, how we are in the major cities, we are operating like the underground political operators. So we are collecting information like the UGs, like the spies, actually. You cannot even use the mobile phones, actually, you know. Now we rely on some of the internet applications to connect with each other and to connect with the sources. So, and then I created a newsroom in the jungle area out of the control of the Myanmar military. So from where we are still operating, despite all these logistic difficulties, we really want to, there is a lot of demand for quality news, a lot of demand for professional media products. You can imagine how the junta has been stifling all the information since the coup. So that's why professional media is all the more important these days.
Sriwin, how can we win? How can we help you win? How can we protect and support reporters who are reporting on the situation in Myanmar? What outside pressure can be applied to the military junta?
First, there is a lot of international sympathy with us. We want the people in the international community to continue their sympathy with all the oppressed citizens of Myanmar and also the media personnel. But to be specific, people in the international community, people in the foreign countries, they can lobby, they can persuade their members of parliaments not to recognize the military junta, not to work with the military junta, but and also to support the journalists and activists and any kind of cause that will promote the democracy in Myanmar.
How are the military treating those of you who are toiling for change in Myanmar? How are they treating compared to before the coup?
They have shut down a number of websites. They have arrested dozens of media personnel. For example, at least about 80 journalists were arrested. Some of them were already sentenced to jail terms. Many professional newsrooms have been forced to shut down and raided. One of our own journalists has been arrested, and she's been attending mock trials being conducted within the prison compound where she is kept. So there is now zero tolerance for any kind of expression, freedom of expression, not just for the media. So we are becoming like another North Korea in the middle of Southeast Asia.
What sort of support do the public show to the media in Myanmar?
There is a lot of support. Myanmar people are very poor, very poor economically. But for example, we receive small donations from many individuals coming from inside Myanmar, actually. So also people, in the social media, people write encouraging posts about the importance of the professional and news media, and that they recognize that we play a vital role, in fighting against the military propaganda and in propagating accurate information about what is going on. And also people rely a lot, on the news media industry, how to continue to survive, actually, and also the activists rely a lot on the professional media, how to organize their resistance movement against the military junta.
You were awarded the Shorenstein Journalism Award in April, I think. how important is it for independent media outlets and journalists to be recognized in this way?
So these kind of recognitions are very valuable to journalists in developing countries because our stories are not relevant, to the North America or to other developed countries. So sometimes we feel that we are not in a position to apply for award in competition with news organizations in the developed countries. So normally we wouldn't apply, and also because of the language barrier, we feel that some of our great reporting was lost actually, in our within the country actually, it did not get proper attention from the international community. That's why this kind of recognition is very encouraging to us and also to other media outlets in our country.
What's needed from the international community as a whole to return democracy to Myanmar? What role does the media play in making that happen?
They continue to support any kind of democratic movement within Myanmar, and also equally important is they should not build a relationship with the junta for any kind of geopolitical interest. So this is the boundary actually, So that's the expectation Myanmar people have of the international community. So international community can stay provide many kinds of support to the to the civil society organizations, to the media industry, and also to the people through the UN organizations and through other organizations like the ICRCs, etc. You can provide many kinds of humanitarian support. So the international community should continue to give all these kind of political and humanitarian support to Myanmar.
There are a lot of viewers watching this online and they'll be reading about it too. What can they do to support your work further?
First is the emotional support. We appreciate very much the emotional support. For example, when the U.S. Capitol was raided, actually, was raided by Donald Trump supporters, there is a lot of criticism in the international community about that particular episode, actually, So that is significant for the U.S. politics. So the same is true of our country. Please provide emotional support to us, even if you cannot provide material support.
Well, congratulations on your award, Swee-Win. It's a real honor and very educative for me, at any rate, to talk with you. So congratulations and thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, John.
And to everyone who's been viewing this, thank you for joining us today. And thank you to all the special award nominees this year. Your work is needed more than ever. These awards are an opportunity for the international media community to come together to celebrate journalists and filmmakers all over the world. If you have a story to share, please take part next year. I encourage you to take some time to view this year's online awards exhibition, accessed from the link below. Explore the incredible work of this year's award nominees and winners, and join us in celebrating the teams of reporters and filmmakers who work across and around the world. These are just some of the greatest storytellers of our generation, helping us to understand the issues and solutions of the world around us. Let's bind together and do all we can to support them. Thank you so much for watching.